Hello, today we'll be looking at how to identify if a structure is an alkane or alkene. This is quite a common question in the GCSE exam paper as well as in the A-level, and students quite often mislead with the mix up the alkanes with alkenes. So I'm going to show you some tricks on how to remember these for your exams today. So first of all, the main thing is to remember this ends up in ANE and that ends up in ENE. So that's one way of remembering if it's ANE or ENE. So what does alkane stand for? Alkane stands for single bond. It means it has one bond sharing rather than two. And I'll show you what they look like when you draw them. They also are saturated. And the word saturated means that all the carbon bonds are full and you can't attach any more hydrogens or any other functional groups to it. And we're going to look at that they don't undergo any reactions either and why. So first of all, what is the generic formula? Now in a GCSE exam, if you've been asked to draw any structures for alkane or alkenes, rather than sitting wasting time to draw each one, the easiest way is to learn your generic formulas. So the generic formula for alkane is CN H2N plus 2. So N is any numbers of carbon. So they may give you the name or they may give you the number of carbons, and all you do is replace the N with that number. So let me show you how to do that. So CN H2N plus 2, and let's say N is 2 for example. Then I have C2H. This here means multiply, so 2 times 2 plus 2. So then the formula becomes CnH 2 to the 4 plus 2 is 6. So that's how you do your calculation. And let's have a look at these. Now what you notice is each of these have got ANE at the end of them, ANE. And what I'm going to do is teach you a really easy way of remembering this, which my students always highlight in the exam and remember how to do them. So I've highlighted M, E, P and B. So the way I teach them is monkey eat peanut butter. So M for monkey, M for methane, eat E, peanut P and butter B. So if you can remember the first four shapes, the remaining names of alkane and alkenes can be linked to your mathematical shapes. Five-sided shape is pentagon, and for chemistry be pentane. 6 is hexagon, 7 is heptagon, 8 is octagon, 9 nonagon, and then 10 is a decagon. So they are exactly the same names as you will use in your maths. So what does a display formula mean? So students get really confused in the exam when they've been asked to draw a display formula or write a molecular formula. They tend to mix the two together. Display means you actually display, you actually draw every single bond. So if I was to draw methane, got one carbon, and carbon has a valency of 4, it can form 4 bonds. Each one of these are connected to a hydrogen. Hence the molecular formula is CH4. So I've got one carbon and 4 hydrogens. This time I have now got 2 carbons, and you'll notice I've got one bond here, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and first one 1, 2, 3 and 4. So again, each carbon is connected to a hydrogen, and then the formula here becomes C2. H6 is like I showed you how to calculate it using the generic formula. And if I carry on doing the display formula, prop means 3, 1, 2 and 3, and if you count you go 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you end up with more than 4 bonds to a carbon, that means you have drawn something wrong. So let's draw the hydrogens, and now the formula will be C3, and if you count your hydrogens, it'd be 8. And again, you can use your generic formula to calculate that. Finally, but means 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, like I said, you can trial the display formulas that they match up by using the formula, generic formula. This time you got C4H10, and it carries on going. So rather than keep drawing all of them, I've shown you examples, and you can basically have a go drawing them. Now, the difference between alkane and alkene is E and E, is that an alkene has double bond. Now, a quick way of remembering that is that you have got 2 E's. So 2 E's equals 2 double bonds. That's one way of remembering it. Anyway, you can remember it that way. Let's write that E again. So that's double bonds. That means it's unsaturated. The word unsaturated means that you can add across the double bond, and it can undergo an addition reaction, which we normally do when we test the hydrocarbons using bromine water. So let's have a look at these. So you cannot have a methane because you have to have 2 carbons in order to draw these. So the generic formula here is CnH2n, and you will see that I've lost the +2 because I've now got double bonds. So excuse me, the first one we draw like this. So you got 2 carbons and you still have 4 bonds. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the formula becomes C2H4. The second one, 3 carbons. Now this is where you got to be really careful. Again, students get really confused. Depending on where your double bond is, you got to remember it's only 4 carbons per bond, 4 bonds for each carbon here. So you got 1, let's just say we put it here. So you got 1, 2, 3, and 4. This carbon here, you got really careful. It's already got 3 bonds, 1, 2, and 3. So you're only going to have 1. And here you have the remaining 3. So this particular carbon is the one you can't have a bond here because you end up with 5. It can only have 4. So be very, very careful where you have that. And at GCSE, it really doesn't matter where you add the double bond because we are not actually naming them. So here the formula is C3H6. And finally, you got 4 carbons in this one. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's add this time the double bond on this end. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now here again 1, 2, 3, and then this is 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when you draw them, be very, very careful how that double bond and where it is. And then this time the formula is C4H8. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So these are called display and molecular formulas. And like I said, a really quick way of remembering is to say monkey eat peanut butter and all your shapes from your mathematics for the remaining things. Now, what does an addition reaction mean? So if I was to add bromine water, which is the test for if it's an alkane or alkene, across this double bond plus Br2, I can add this across here, and this will then become that double bond will open up like a spring and the bromine will attach itself. Again, at GCSE, it does not matter if you put the bromines on the top, the bottom, or the sides. So you started off with a ethene molecule, you added bromine water, and now it's become dibromoethane. Di means two, bromo means bromine, and ethane because it's a single structure, not a double anymore. Now, the GCSE question will be, how do you test if it's an alkane or alkene? And the answer is you add bromine water. Bromine water is orange in color, and if it adds to an alkene double bond, it goes colorless. Whereas if you add it to a single bond alkane, it remains orange. So you must say it goes from orange to colorless, not clear, and it remains orange for alkane because it's saturated. So this is a quick whiz through of how to draw your display formulas. Thank you for listening. If you like, please subscribe.